Welcome to another night of elegance. Put your glass in the air for black excellence. Never mind the media, that's irrelevant. They know we born gods, it's all evident. My black queens looking heaven sent. Gentlemen dressed decadent. Welcome to another night of elegance. Put your glass in the air for black excellence. Never mind the media, that's irrelevant. They know we born gods, it's all evident. My black queens looking heaven sent. Gentlemen dressed decadent.
Yo, what's going on with y'all? What's going on with y'all? Another episode, Real Conversation Podcast, presented to you by Real Conversation Podcast Network. Today we got a special guest. We're gonna speak on a few things she got going on right now. We're gonna speak on her skincare line, Jupiter Moon. We also gonna speak on her poetry book, Chaos to Serenity, from heartbreak to healing, available now on Kindle and Amazon.com. And we also gonna speak on mental health. I want y'all to give a warm welcome to Louisiana's finest, Miss Celeste Holloway. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to have you finally on the platform.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So we're gonna start it off nice and simple. Could you let the audience, the viewers, people that's not that familiar with you, could you let them know like your upbringing and how did you come up, like your household on the day to day?
Oh gosh, where do I start? Growing up in New Orleans, my mom and dad separated when I was young, so I grew up mainly in a household with my mom and my brother. Um, and mom was pretty strict, so had to keep our grades in line and do our chores, And then as I got older, I was like, what do I want to do? You know, and my mom always was so supportive. She'd be like, you can do whatever you want to do, because your circumstances start here, but they don't define who you become, So those are really big words, you know what I'm saying, as you aging and you're not really sure what life about and which way you want to go. But my mom and my brother have been really solid in my upbringing and still to this day, because that's what we had and we made the best of it. So, graduated
Okay.
high school. I went into the Navy and then that kind of changed my view on life a lot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So coming up in New Orleans, some people might consider that like a tough city. So like how did just coming up in the city of New Orleans shape you to the woman you are today?
Like I said, my mom was very strict. So it was a lot of things I wasn't allowed to do. So I think anywhere that you grow up, you know what I'm saying? Life is going to be what your family makes it into. You don't have to be defined by your surroundings. So, and like I said, my mom, she did not play that. It wasn't gonna be outside all times of night. It wasn't gonna be in and out of her house all times of night. So, we had a lot of rules that kept us from doing a lot of things.
Okay, that's what's up. So how did you get introduced to poetry and what made you start actually like writing poetry and just the whole art form of poetry? What what made you so like passionate about it?
So it started back in probably about 2002. I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I was home a lot, on bed rest. So I had a lot of time on my hands. I started reading a lot, right? But it didn't start off as poetry. It started off as writing short stories, right? Just I had all these thoughts in my head, and I was like, let me put it on paper and see what it does. So I started writing small stories, and I liked the outcome feedback that I got from people with that. And then I kind of transitioned it to poetry because I was like, what if I can make this into a poem to where it tells the story and it's not just so straightforward. And so I was writing for years and years, and then I just stopped. And then in 20, I say like 2019, I had a bout with depression, and writing became my outlet because I was like, I'm not big on medication. I don't like taking medication. So I didn't want to go to my doctor and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And she'd be like, take this medicine. And then I become a zombie. So I started writing. And I mean, in the morning, late at night, in the afternoon, I was just writing, writing, writing because I had so many feelings. And I was like, I got to get it out though, because it's starting to tear me down, holding in so many things from over the years, from heartbreak to losses. And I just decided, okay, so I'm gonna start writing, but what am I gonna do with it? You know? And I mean, I had well over 50 poems that I had written, and I was just holding on to them. Like I would show them to friends and things like that, but I never really did anything with them, right? So a friend of mine, he was like, "You should write a book," and I was like, "I'm not an author, like like people that have knowledge of writing, they really do that." And he's like, "Your stuff is really good." So I was like, "Okay, I'll take it into consideration." And then I just kind of sat down and I put all of the ones together that had that central theme. It's like, okay, you sunk to your lowest point. Where are you going to go from here? And I just kind of put that collaboration together, and then I put it together in a book because
Okay,
I'm
okay.
like, maybe,
Before you talk about the book, I wanna introduce that. Like, I want that to be its own segment. So right before we
okay,
get into
okay.
the book, okay, right before we get into the book, would you say creating poems and short stories, as you call it, would you say that was like one of your main sources, like your outlets to get your feelings out? You feel like therapy or other things wasn't was it one of your resources at the time, or how did that work?
To me, and I'm not saying that it works for everybody, but writing was my outlet because, and I'm an advocate of therapy. I believe it helps a lot of people, but I just kind of felt like it wasn't for me because I felt like, how can I say this? I had so much to say, but I felt like me trying to explain that to someone, it wouldn't make sense if I just went and sat on the couch and, explained everything that happened that led up to that point. I felt like it was going to be back to the medication. It was going to be like, okay, well, we feel like this is going to be the answer to your issues. Take this medication. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a shell of the person who I was, and I wanted to get it out because I wanted to feel better and stop holding everything inside. So that's why I didn't feel like therapy was for me.
Okay, okay. I have my own beliefs on therapy, but I'm not gonna say that in this episode. So I just wanted you to get that out there because I know the viewers will probably ask, like, why didn't she just go to therapy? Like, a lot of people feel as if that's just a, quick solve to everybody's problems, but everybody is different, like you just explained. But okay, so now let's get into the book. So you
Hold
titled
on,
the
can I just say this real quick?
okay, go ahead.
And another reason I didn't go to therapy is because I didn't want to suppress everything. Like I wanted to actually open that bag and deal with all my inner workings, all the stuff that I had pushed down over the years. I wanted to feel it because in my mind that was the only way I was going to get through it. Okay.
Okay. That's deep right there. Okay. So okay, let's get to the book. So you named the book Chaos to Serenity from Heartbreak to Healing. That's a
Yes.
that's a powerful title. So I just got a few questions. I just want to like for the viewers, I want to break down like what what made you create the book? How long did it take to create the book? And why did you feel Amazon was the way to publish and produce and distribute your book?
Um, I created it because, like I said, I had tons and tons of poems, and I was just holding on to them. Like I wasn't doing anything with them. So when my friend suggested that I make the book, I already had everything that needed to go inside of it. It was just a matter of putting everything together. And honestly, let's see, he made the suggestion probably in like 2020. So it took a few years, like maybe 3, 4 years before I actually sat down with it and was like, okay, let me put this into a book. Um, and I chose Amazon because honestly, I don't have the storage for books. Like if I had done just, publishing with like a company or anything, I was like, okay, I don't have the money to just go into it like that. And I don't have the storage for like hundreds of books, at my place. So I was like, okay, if I do it on Amazon, I have more options because you can do it via Kindle, you can do the hardcover, you can do the paperback, and I thought that that would give me more options in distribution.
Okay, okay,
Did I
okay.
answer all the questions or did I miss anything?
Um, yeah, you pretty much answered everything.
Okay.
Um, I I think I okay. You said how long it took you to make the book. You said since 2020. That's when you
Yeah.
start. Okay, 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 okay. So okay, all right. So okay, so let's just okay. If somebody watching this and they asking themselves like uh maybe I should create a book or maybe I should do some type of put out some type of literature like my thoughts like you made it to poetry, where would they start like from scratch if somebody's watching this and say I want to make a book as well as about my life and my overcomings and what would you tell them to start like the first step?
First, decide what you want to put in your book. You have to start with your writing because nobody's going to tell your story like you can tell your story. So, and there's always going to be an option. You can do your own independent publishing, you can publish via Amazon, and there are several other options, out there. So, my suggestion would be, start with your writing and definitely research to see which one of those options is going to work best for you. Because the good thing is there are all types of groups online that you can join, and people can give you pointers, and you have to figure out what's going to work best for you.
Okay,
But I would
okay,
definitely say start with your writing.
okay, okay. That's some good advice. We got somebody in the live chat. They asked, "What was the biggest struggle while making it?"
Being depressed, so
Mm,
you just imagine you feel like you're in a sinkhole and you can see the light, but you don't have any idea how you're going to get to it. But you know that by writing, you're expressing your feelings and you're not holding everything in. So you're letting it out. So it's actually like saving yourself while you're actively drowning. And that was like the hardest part to keep going with that.
mm, okay, that's real. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So let's speak on your skincare line, Jupiter Moon.
Mhm.
Um, what inspired you to create a whole skincare line, and can you tell the people where to find it and what's like the ingredients? Is it organic? Is it
So Jupiter Moon got started because of my children. They have eczema, and it's only so many options you can have in the store, and they're very limited. So it's like if you wanted, like with my daughters, of course they're females, they want to smell nice. They want to smell like flowers. And when you have eczema, everything in the store is basically just unscented. So it's like, okay, this is the lotion, it has no scent. This is the soap, it has no scent. But I started doing a lot of research, and I'm like, they don't have to be limited in their options. They can have all the other skincare other people have. It just has to be with natural ingredients. So I work a lot with shea butter, coconut oils, beef tallow, and things of that nature, so they can have options. Because, say you're going out to a family function, you don't want to just go and smell like oil, you know what I'm saying? Like cooking oil or something, So that was very important to me for them to be able to have options. And I have a website. It's jupitermoonskincare.com. And like I said, I have soaps on there. I have body butters. I have some salves on there. It's a whole lot of good stuff, And like I said, it gives people options,
Okay.
especially people with
I
like
got eczema.
skin issues.
I got
I'm
eczema as
telling you,
well.
we
So
can. If you want, after the podcast, if you want to send me your information, I can send you some stuff if you want to try it.
okay, cool. Definitely. I will promote it too, cause my daughter, she got some skin like me. So yeah, we can whole family can use it.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, it's very limited, and I don't like that though because you do have other options, and I have eczema, and my face is one of my breakout spots. Um, and the way I deal with it, which I didn't learn from my doctor because my doctor had given me like this soap Cetaphil, and I'm
okay.
like, okay, but it's not very moisturizing. So I did some research for a few years, and I came up with a skin scrub, right? Because a lot of times that eczema will leave patches of dry skin in your face. So I use the skin scrub on my face. It's very gentle. It's made with coconut oil, brown sugar. So, it's going to exfoliate your face without over drying it. So, like I said, I'm giving people more options.
Okay, I definitely respect that because, like you said, we need more options with more like
Yeah.
profile to them. Like you said, it's all unscented. Everybody want to smell good. Everybody want to,
Yeah.
feel good about themselves. Even people with drier skin. So I feel like that's definitely needed in the marketplace for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about a lot. So I don't want to take up all your night, but I got just a few more questions.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
you say you want to touch on mental health. So I want to ask you like what mental health means to you and how important it is to spread awareness.
To me, mental health, it means everything because, I mean, if you don't have any control up here, what else are you going to do? Because your mind and your brain, that's everything. So to me, you have to you have to deal with your issues. Like it's no way around it. It's no way I could really sugarcoat it. But if you're dealing with something, you have to be open about it. You have to communicate to the people around you, and you have to be willing to sit with it and really get to the root of the problem. So, it can't just be like, oh my gosh, everything is just falling apart. Okay, well, why is everything in your life falling apart? Like, what happened that led to that? So if you say, okay, well, I lost my job. Okay, you lost your job. You need money. What do you do next? And I'm not saying don't feel your feelings and don't sit and be sad, but you can't stay there. You know, like whatever issues you have, if you keep pushing them down, eventually everything in that foundation is going to crumble. And when it hits you, it's going to hit you hard. And for me, when it hit me, mine happened over time and I didn't notice the signs. It was a lot of me basically people pleasing because it was like I always wanted to try to make everybody's life easier and make the people around me feel happy, feel like they had someone that they could depend on. And I got so caught up in everybody else's life, nobody was living mine.
Mm,
So I had to go into the hole to get out of it. And I had, like I said, I had to sit with everything that I was feeling. I had to assess why I was feeling that way and what to do about it. And for me, like I said, my writing really changed everything for me. And then learning to say no. Like you can't be everything to everybody. You have to set those boundaries and you have to draw lines and say, hey, no, you don't, and you don't even have to have a reason. It's just like, no, not today. Today I'm off and I'm doing this, so no. you know, and stop allowing people to call you and drop all of their problems on you because you give them advice, they're not going to take it. And then next week they're going to call you and it's going to be the same thing. You have to learn how to put yourself first and tell people no and be unavailable. And to me, that mental health awareness is colossal. You know, like people have to take it more seriously because sometimes when you go into that depression, a lot of people don't make it out. And depression is not somewhere you want to spend a lot of time because if you allow it to, it'll grow and it'll create even more problems in your life. So, you know, I suggest people find what works for them, you know, because my method is not going to work for everybody else. Some people will need medication, you know, some people will need therapists. You know, you have to figure out what's going to work for you. But if you feel that overwhelming sadness and you just feel like you have no other options, seek help. Like reach out. I don't care if you reach out to your godmother, to your doctor, reach out to somebody and, you know, find a way to get better.
Mm, okay. We usually end the show with a motivational, inspirational message, but you pretty much just did all that in one. So I appreciate you so much.
Okay.
And, I'm gonna let you close out the show. I'm gonna take my face off. Just let them know where to find you and where they can find your product and your book as well. I appreciate your time and your energy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You have a good night.
Just let the
Don't,
people
don't,
let the people know where to find you. I'm sorry. Let the people know what. Oh man. Okay, that was Celeste Holloway. I don't think she know what I meant, but yeah, we appreciate her for stopping by, and you can find her on Facebook, Celeste Holloway, JupiterMoon.com for a skincare line, and Chaos to Serenity from Heartbreak to Healing on Amazon and Kindle.com, available right now. So make sure y'all just support her entrepreneurship, support her message, her movement, and we appreciate her. She also invited to come back on the show at any time. So with that being said, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for more notifications, for more interviews and content just like this. We appreciate y'all, man. Have a fresh week, fresh mindset. Realize that you can overcome anything. You can manifest your own reality. As long as you wake up, you can switch your reality at any time, any moment. So this for y'all, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. It's been your boy, Mr. Smooth, with the one and only Celeste Holloway. We gone. Love.